Hi everyone, and welcome back to the series of vendor panel videos by Wipro. I'm Adrien Avet, partner for Cybersecurity Risk Services at Wipro. In today's video, we will cover data loss prevention, also known as DLP. Nowadays, data powers every aspect of an organization, and keeping it safe is more important than ever. To cover the trends and innovation in this space, we have invited industry leaders who will present their unique value proposition for DLP. We have with us today Microsoft, represented by Alexander Kunze. Forcepoint with Osgur Danisman. Proofpoint, represented by Kevin Loiting. Netscope with Andy Applin. Symantec by Broadcom with Clive Finlay. And finally, Zscaler with Michael Schneider. Each panelist will answer 5 questions with just 30 seconds to respond. We will discuss the following topics: DLP coverage, data discovery and classification capabilities, implementation options, monitoring and reporting, and finally, their latest innovation. The order of the speakers has been determined from a live draw, ensuring no preferences. Let's begin by putting 30 seconds on the clock. Alexander, how does your DLP solution cover all the channels? Web, cloud, endpoint, and email.
So Microsoft's DLP solution is actually integrated into all of our cloud products. So that means we cover DLP straight at the source, as it were. So as an example, egress of sensitive information on email is handled by Exchange Online. Via Teams on Teams, SharePoint and OneDrive, same thing. And for endpoint and OS level egress channels, as well as web browsing, that is handled by our endpoint DLP engine.
Thank you. Forcepoint is providing enterprise-grade data security solutions for more than 2 decades to our customers. And we provide this with a unified management that we can cover all the data exploration channels, be it endpoint with our agents, be it CASB with our for the cloud applications, and web proxy and email protection channels basically.
So data doesn't lose itself. So compromised, negligent, and malicious users are and continue to be the source of data exfiltration. Proofpoint's data security, human-centric approach analyze what users are doing so we can better protect them from data loss across all channels: email, cloud, web, and email channels.
So at Netscope, what we decided to do was build one singular DLP engine. And what we would do is we apply that across all channels. What we're effectively doing is doing an application decoding so that whether a user is posting something on web, or whether they're doing an upload for a SaaS application, or whether they're sending an email, or whether they're copying from a USB stick into your endpoint, we've got total coverage with one singular policy that can be applied across all services.
For Symantec, we look at splitting it into a DLP Core and DLP Cloud solutions. DLP Core is focused on a lot of the things within your enterprise, like an endpoint agent for Mac, Linux, and Windows systems, integrating with email and web gateways. And then the DLP Cloud extends to a full-featured CASB to extend those capabilities inline or at rest into cloud applications. Some things we've added to the service is DLP for ZTNA and also an API appliance to perform detection on corporate applications.
So the Zscaler Zero Trust Exchange provides a unified classification engine that's then taken to look at data on SaaS applications inline for web and email. It also acts locally on the endpoint and also can be applied to workloads within public cloud environments to make sure that we're not just looking at the, let's say, user traffic, but also extending the coverage to those workloads within the public cloud environment, providing totally holistic protection for all the various areas where data can be stored or leave from.
Oz, how does your DLP solution handle data discovery and classification?
Forcepoint has many different strategies to apply data discovery and classification. We have the likes of the regular expressions, machine learning, fingerprinting, and we apply also with the latest acquisition with the Get Visibility, the AI mesh into our technology. So what this helps is to help the customer understand the sensitivity of their data. So by this way, our DLP solutions also can be fine-tuned and they will be applying the right policy to protect the right level of sensitivity.
So Proofpoint has a patented one-pass scanner that allows us to find data regardless of where it resides, whether in the cloud, on-prem, in the PaaS or SaaS environment, or in a hybrid environment. Scan it there, not have to move it, analyze that data, classify it, so that our DLP engines can then process what it sees.
So at Netscope, what we see is that there are two parts to this: the discovery, identifying where the data is, and then the classification. And on the classification, what we tend to do is we tend to build engines that are automatically learning the different types of data that exist today. So we've leveraged AI, we've leveraged ML, and what we've done is we focus on those key aspects of like government documentation. So feeding a platform with information to ensure that we've reduced the opportunity for any sort of misrepresentation and to ensure accuracy.
At Symantec, we have 20 years legacy of classification, and we use described content matching, regular expressions, pattern recognition of credit card numbers and national identifiers, fingerprinting of unstructured documents and customer databases, and OCR technology, which can be really useful for scanned in documents. We also have added content classification, which is great for out-of-the-box capturing of things like passports and other national identifiers. And we've also integrated with labeling systems from Purview and Seclor to make sure that you can actually perform the classification when you identify the data.
So as mentioned before, the Zscaler platform is built around that central classification engine that's then able to, well, obviously classify data on the various channels. And from a technology point of view, regular expressions being applied or simple phrases, plus then on top, our AI/machine learning driven identification that makes it easy for a customer to recognize sensitive data without actually creating classifications themselves. Plus then the company data, which resides in databases, file shares, etc., that's then fingerprinted to detect those sensitive pieces of information.
So Microsoft made the decision to actually split its DLP and discovery and classification parts. There is a separate module in Microsoft Purview called Information Protection, and it houses our classification engine. It provides a variety of classifiers for different types of sensitive data that you're trying to find: regular expressions, machine learning based, exact data match, fingerprinting, OCR, and so forth. And those you can then use in your DLP policies to identify sensitive data, but you can also use it separately to do data discovery and see what your data estate looks like.
Kevin, what are the deployment options? Cloud, on-prem, hybrid?
So Proofpoint Data Security is built on a cloud-native environment, allowing us to use the same engines regardless of where we're actually doing the detection. So on our endpoint engine uses the exact same engine as we have because we connect to our cloud platform. And that's all based on our Nexus AI and ML platform, based on years of growing that AI and ML technologies.
Okay, so the deployment for Netscope is pure cloud. Everything was built in the cloud for the cloud. It gives us the highest performance that we need to ensure the lowest latency when you're doing the processing of the data. So whether it be for applications with data at rest, whether it be the applications in real time, or whether it be on the endpoint as well, everything that we do on the processing of identifying what is data and what the type of data is done in the cloud to ensure the lowest possible latency.
For Symantec, all options are available. We tend to find that customers adopt the DLP Cloud console for SSE, SASE use cases for DLP. On-prem is useful to manage all the components, endpoints within on-premise. But actually, we find the most popular option is hybrid, especially in countries and jurisdictions where data residency is really important to keep those incidents. And there they deploy a console with the incidents in a database in their private environment and connect to all the cloud and on-premise components to get full coverage via a unified policy.
Right, Zscaler is obviously a cloud service, right? That's what we're known for. But being a cloud service does not automatically mean that we can't cover on-premise parts, right? So the cloud service extends its reach into on-premise components. It handles data according to local compliance regulations, right? For example, the incident management, the customer always remains a custodian of the data. We just visualize it for them. But yeah, as said, so cloud service primarily with components such as endpoint DLP, which reside on the endpoint, and do local enforcement, local discovery, even though the endpoint is not connected to the cloud anymore. So, but the focus, cloud service.
Well, since Microsoft is one of the world's largest cloud corporations, it will not surprise you to learn that our DLP solution is also a cloud-native solution. That obviously doesn't mean that we can't protect hybrid and on-prem workloads, obviously, but all protection happens through our cloud. And thanks to our great coverage of data centers worldwide, we can provide data residency commitments wherever the customer needs them to be, basically.
So ForcePoint provides the flexibility of options to the customer. We can provide on-prem deployments, hybrid deployments, as well as cloud deployments. And how we approach this is we provide this unified management with the same engine, with the same classification capabilities on the endpoint, be it Mac, Microsoft, what have you, and also on the cloud side with CASB and all these. You can manage everything from on-prem, but enforce the policy in the cloud, or you can totally manage everything in the cloud and do the enforcement wherever your data exfiltration channel might be.
Andy, what are the capabilities for detailed reporting and monitoring?
Okay, at Netscope, what we see is that when a policy is triggered, what we'll do is we'll immediately raise an alert, and then we'll capture the forensic data. And so that the operator can then look back at that alert information, which details over 50 different single items of behavior that happened at that particular moment in time. Then what we can do is we can drill down into it using the incident management dashboard to find out precisely what it is within the payload that triggered the situation. And then access to that can either be done through our own console within the UI or the advanced analytics, or we have an open API so we can feed into other third-party platforms such as ServiceNow.
Symantec has extensive reporting. It all starts with the incident pane itself for incident responders, where you can see the match count, policy violations, custom attributes to see where an employee sits in which department, so you can really triage and react quickly. UEBA engine extends that capability to look for high-risk users. That can be really helpful for looking at huge numbers of incidents and understanding high-risk user behaviors. And then we integrate with ServiceNow for API integration to embed the line manager in that process and user pop-ups for coaching individuals at the endpoint.
Sure. I mean, detailed reporting is, of course, key, right? Because you want to have the necessary insights. For example, unified discovery across all of the enforcements or policy or data detection points, right? Then the ability to drill deep into transactional information, or then finally, when a incident has happened, the reporting of incidents in our incident management tool, workflow automation, where you can then integrate with third-party tools, work with the user, work with the manager. So the resolution of an incident is not just the team, but can be made part of an organization.
So in true Microsoft fashion, we offer several options, depending on how far you want to go. Out of the box, the DLP solution that we have provides a dashboard with real-time alerts, with filtering options, and where you can drill down into what happened. But if that dashboard, for whatever reason, isn't sufficient for you, because it's one platform, you can ingest all the DLP alerts into Defender XDR, and then also even go further with Sentinel and build your own custom workbooks and analytics charts, however far you like to go. It just depends on what your preferences are.
So at ForcePoint, we provide all those types of reporting, incident management, like you would expect from a data security platform. I mean, I will not go into the details, to be honest there. But what really differs ForcePoint is our risk adaptive protection. What we provide is we understand the risky behaviors of the user, and accordingly we adopt the best policy and apply a dynamic DLP policy to our users based on that, and help all these analyst efforts rather than you having a guy managing things 7/24. The system works for you.
So ProPoint uses a single console with powerful analytics to all of our alerts go through this and are analyzed so that we only surface those alerts that are true for our customers to use. We then give them advanced workflows and APIs so they can integrate with third-party systems as well and get the best out of the system, minimizing the work that the admins have to do.
Clive, tell us what is your latest data security innovation?
You want just one? Symantec, we launched recently at RSA integration of our endpoint agent into Microsoft Edge for Business browser to complement our Mozilla Firefox and Chrome integration. But I also want to stress that we have a Gen AI integration and supportability to take auditing of Gen AI apps to see what's being used. You get to restrict and secure sanction AI apps checking DLP for content uploads, and also classifying Gen AI generated content, giving you a survive to thrive attitude when you're deploying your enterprise Gen AI.
I would like to emphasize two things. One is our use of AI to help customers for quicker identification of sensitive data. So using Gen AI to help finding this particular piece of information without them setting up a classification themselves. And secondly, AI governance for the whole organization, what AI is in use, who is accessing that, etc. Plus then the ability to identify sensitive data that's transmitted to AI or with the SaaS API for Gen AI, finding the data within the SaaS application.
So since Microsoft is one of the biggest players in the AI revolution, it shouldn't come as a surprise that this is where most of our innovation is taking place, especially also in data security. As an example, we have the DSPM for AI Purview module, which allows you to govern and safeguard the use of Gen AI, both for third-party Gen AI apps as well as your own. But our latest innovation, which was just announced, is our Data Security Investigations module, which allows you to use our Security Copilot to perform investigations of data security incidents with Gen AI.
So, Forcepoint launched multiple innovations at RSA last week. If I were to pick the one that's most impactful, is helping our customers in their AI transformation journey. We help them in this journey by giving the visibility into whatever Gen AI tech they are using, providing the visibility how the end users, employees are reaching to that application, what type of data that they are sharing with that application. But also we help them also even automate their application controls by the API protector.
What I'm really excited about is at RSA last week, we announced a new approach to how we're doing DLP. We're combining our DLP engine, our DSPM, and our insider threat management solutions into one using our Nexus platform, which combines our AI models, our behavior analytics, and our insider threat tools to allow us then to better protect our users across one, regardless of where the threat comes from, across all channels.
Okay, at Netscope, there's two things I wanted to mention. First of all, it's our enterprise browser. So if you're an unmanaged device or a contractor who wishes to access those applications and you wish to invoke the security against it, then we've got a way of steering all of the traffic from an unmanaged device straight into the SSE platform. The second innovation is the use of AI within our own customer services team so that we can analyze the infrastructure, how it's being used, and make sure it's most effective for our customers.
Thanks to all our panelists for their insightful contributions. If you wish to schedule a deep dive session with one of these vendors to analyze your top use cases, please feel free to contact us. Thanks for watching and see you next time.